My name's Beckett.
My name's Jasper.
If you like this video, hit like, comment, subscribe. Join the Peanut Gallery.
Hey, welcome back to the Peanut Gallery. We have Justin Benner with us today.
Hi.
Welcome here.
Hi, Justin.
So we are starting a new series of interviews over the next little while. I want to look at some of the hometown heroes. So we live in a small town. If you're watching and you're not from our area, I actually live in a town of like 100. We're out in the boonies more yet. But
I'm a big city boy compared
big
to you.
city, metropolis of Aylmer.
That's right.
But we live in a town of about 8,000, the municipality of maybe 10,000. But one of the things we're starting to notice over the last 2 years is there are a lot of people that it takes to make a town like this work.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people beyond staff that allow these functions that, because as a kid, you look at parades, you look at all these different things that the town does. And I think in my head, at least, I always assumed there was just staff somewhere paid to do all this stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
And so as you kind of start digging in and you start volunteering as an adult, you begin to realize, man, there's a lot of stuff that people in our community step up and do. And so that's what we want to do over the next couple of weeks. We are going to learn from, we're going to learn about, and hopefully inspire some people to get involved. And so if you're watching and you're not involved in your community, and it doesn't have to be Aylmer, whatever community you're from, we're hoping to kind of inspire to say, hey, maybe there's a place that you can step in, because a lot of this stuff sounds like a lot of fun. So with that, we asked the Kinsmen to kick us off.
Hi.
And with that, Justin. So Justin, why don't you tell us a little bit maybe about yourself?
Sure.
And then we'll get into the rest of it.
Okay. Well, I'm 36, happily married to my wife, Jessica.
And you have a nice mustache.
Thank you.
So
I've been working on it. I never could do the full beard.
No?
No, the cheeks don't fill in. So I had to go for something.
Eventually, you can just do a comb over. If you do it long enough, it kind of covers the spots.
Well, this is a boy's mustache. Okay. The boys love it and the women hate it.
Yes.
But
we're all jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean Locke said that they would write cowboy songs about my mustache yesterday, which is very nice to hear. So
depends which cowboy song. Yeah. I know what you're saying. All right, so you're an Aylmer boy. You grew up here.
Yeah, grew up just outside of Richmond. My parents were tobacco farmers before transitioning.
So
into
were you one
herbs.
of the kids? Were you one of the kids that had to actually prime, or were you in the back kind of watching us suckers on the prime
they made
machine?
me prime. They made me do all the jobs.
All right.
But when I was 16 or 17, they let me do the boat driving.
Yes.
Which is the best job on the planet.
Oh, by far.
It's amazing.
Yes.
We had this old army truck with like 2 gas tanks on it, and you just bomb down the side roads all day. It was awesome. Like
as a 16-year-old, that's
yeah,
a dream.
Well, it's really, you can't beat it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I got paid for that too. They actually paid me, which is great. Yeah. $8 an hour. I was loaded.
$8 an hour. Now
$8 an hour.
$8, that's a liter of gas?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so you're up here.
Yep.
So let's talk about Kinsmen a little bit.
Sure.
How'd you become part of this? How'd you learn about it?
Well, my friend Brett invited me into the club. And as you know, we do the Santa Claus parade every year.
Okay.
And we like to bring out guests for that day because it's a lot of fun. Who doesn't love walking down the main street and you toss candy out and everybody's got a smile on their face, and it's a great time. So I went out to that, and then they kind of hook you in. It's like a bait and switch, right? They hook you in that way.
So I've seen this before. They give you some candy.
That's right.
Yeah, I've seen this before. Okay.
That's right. And then I was invited to a couple meetings. We usually invite a guest 3 times. And then after the 3rd time, we offer them, if they fit in with the club, we offer them a membership. Okay. So that's how I joined. There's maybe 22 guys or 23 guys when I joined. We're about the same size now. Give or take a few.
Yeah.
But so.
Okay. So, because some of this stuff we know, some of it we didn't.
Yeah.
What is the Kinsmen? Where to start? Is it just an Aylmer thing? I'm assuming it's not. There's a broader thing, but what is the Kinsmen?
So Kinsmen is actually one of the only, I think it is the only purely Canadian service club. So it doesn't exist in the United States or Britain or any place else. I think Hamilton was the first club. They started in 1920.
Okay.
I believe Hal Rogers was his name, and he was sort of the founder and inspiration of the club. The motto of the club is serving the community's greatest needs. So what we do is pretty varied, and depending on where you are, it varies a lot. So we're known for the Canada Day fireworks in the Santa Claus Parade here in town. But if you go down to Delhi or Tillsonburg or wherever, they do very different things. I'd say a common theme is supporting sporting, do a lot of sponsorships for that. We've sponsored a bit of, the work at the Family Central. We give out bursaries for students who are pursuing post-secondary education. Just a lot of stuff, very varied. So our big thing is just kind of to fill the gaps, I guess, that are missing, whether that means building a park or sponsoring an arena or anything like that. We want to be there to fill those gaps. So.
Okay. So those are some massive projects to begin with.
Yes.
So how does that, I guess, I got a bunch of different questions. I'm not sure which the best one to start, but
sure.
Really, how did you, in Aylmer maybe, let's go to the Aylmer, how did you guys start?
Okay.
And kind of, how do you find your needs now? Because there are those service clubs. Is this something you guys work together with? How do you determine what to do? And then the follow-up would be, where does the funding come from? How do you raise money, that kind of stuff?
Okay. Well, the Aylmer Club started in 1944. Ray Shepard was our first president. And the very first thing we did was the Santa Claus Parade. Now, in terms of how we decide what we're going to help, we get a lot of requests for funding. What happens is, as president, I will bring those requests up at a meeting, and we sit down and we just talk it over. Sometimes we say no, sometimes we say yes. It really depends on what the membership wants. So it's driven by the membership, and we give a lot of preference to people that we know or organizations that we've worked with before. And we really try to, kind of keep those relationships going over years. Rather than dipping in and out with support, we try to keep it very consistent with what we do, because we find consistent and small is oftentimes better than a one-off, even if it's a bit bigger. So that's how we find our stuff, is we get a lot of requests and then we decide upon it as a group. In terms of funding, we do, there's a bunch of different ways we raise money. We do sometimes get grants from the town, every now and again. We do a fundraising ourselves, where we will, do a stake fundraiser or a stake sale of some kind, or, ask for a bit of money when people enter the fireworks, or we sell Nevada tickets at a lottery or at a convenience store. So there's a bunch of different ways that we make the money. We try and keep it. We always say that the less money we have, the better, because that means it's going out the door. Right. So we try and keep it down and just kind of really push it out as much as we can.
I would say your fireworks are awesome.
Yes.
I think they're one of the best that are we haven't traveled huge areas, but for small little town.
Yeah.
And I've heard that from a lot. So there's some really good stuff.
Well, we've missed doing them. It's been awful not to have them, but this year they're coming back. So.
With a bang?
With a bang.
See what we did there?
You didn't have to do that.
I'm sorry. My kids would have laughed. Whatever. All right, so let's go into what did it actually look like to be a member. Because one of the things that you were saying when we were talking about this beforehand was that you really enjoy this.
Yes.
So you become so you kind of get because I think in general, at least in my take from people in Aylmer, most people in a small town want to see it succeed.
Yes. So
we're a charitable town.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like
people are super generous here.
Yeah.
Very generous.
So when you join, those things are good, but I think there's often the missing piece of you actually enjoy this.
Yes. Yeah. So what happens is we meet the first and third Thursday of every month.
Yep.
We sit down and have a meal together, and then we discuss business or things that are going on. The president will run a meeting and sort of keep order as best as he can. Getting the guys to shut up is it's
I was gonna say
it's an incredible task.
Your smirk immediately told me that wasn't necessarily easy. Right.
And then we're a big believer in fellowship. So we like to spend time with each other. We like to develop friendships outside of those meetings. A lot of these guys are my close friends now. When I moved back home from London, a lot of my friends were up in London or they moved to Toronto, and I didn't have that here. So joining the club really let me meet guys that were not only my age, but older than myself, with hugely different careers and interests. A bit of a networking opportunity, right? And it's been awesome. Like, it's really just a fun time. One of the big components of our meeting is finding each other. So if you have a change of status, there's standard fines for that. And that could mean having a kid or buying a house or getting a new job or having, anything like that. But then there's the other fines. I'll give you an example of one. My friend Brett, my grandpa passed not long ago, and he came out to the funeral. He was dressed up and he was looking really good. Well, my sister said to me, "Wow, who's that guy? He's really good looking." So I fined him for that. I got him for $5 for that. I said he took me out of my grieving process. And it's my best fine to date. I've never beat that one, right? And he goes, "I cannot believe you got me for going to a funeral." So we have a lot of fun with it. Like, it's pretty easy going. I think maybe the impression of service clubs is it's boring, and it's not. It's really not. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's mostly like our club is a men's club. But, if you look in other towns, there's king clubs, which are, unisex, and there's connect clubs as well. And there used to be one in Aylmer, as a matter of fact. And back in the day, it was actually limited to men under 40, which a lot of people don't know. That's no longer possible with the state of volunteering.
Right.
But back in the day, what happened is you would be in the king club until you were 40, and then you join what was called the K40. And that was the 40-plus guys. And they would kind of have a similar structure, but they weren't necessarily like an official kin club. But it's very cool. It's a lot of fun. I really wish people would give it a shot, because the impression of it is very different than the reality of it.
Right.
So I don't know. We do a great job of having fun. It's our primary thing, is having a lot of fun. And if we raise a bit of money for the community on the side, that's great.
So you guys have, because a lot of places have their own place. Do you guys have a place of your own? Do you guys meet in a basement?
Yeah, so we travel. We'll meet at Knights of Columbus one meeting, Saks the next, Legion the next, Optimist Club sometimes. We'll rent out their hall there. We've never wanted a club, and truthfully, due to the pandemic, are we ever thankful for that? To have a fixed cost to pay would have been not great for us as revenue dried up and we couldn't do any fundraising and that kind of thing. And I really feel for the ones who do have a club, because I know that it can be really hard to pay those bills, right? Even to keep the hydro on or pay the property tax, that can be very tough. So we've always felt that we can serve the community best by not having a club and keeping the funds sort of moving and not locked up into a building. So
how would people find out about you? When meetings are? I know you dabble with websites.
Yes.
I don't know, is there a website? How do we figure out how do you make that first step?
Yeah, so aylmerkinsman.ca is our website. You can also email info@aylmerkinsman.ca. Or you can just get a hold of me. My email I can provide to you if anybody reaches out to you, and you can give me a call or send me an email. Or if you know any Kinsmen, just go talk to them. We're more than happy to invite you to a meeting. You get a free meal out of it. We won't fine you your first meeting. We'll let you go easy.
When's the next one? I can already hear Trevor back there going, "Did someone say free food? What? Wait, what?"
Yeah, and then you'll come out for a couple meetings, and if everybody gets along and everybody's happy, then we'll send you an invite and you're in. Okay. So we do have a membership fee, an annual fee, to cover meals, so that as much as we can, that we're putting the money that we get back into the community instead of in our mouths. Right. So
what are you guys raising money for? Supper?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So if anybody is interested at all, please just reach out and somebody will get back to you. Probably me. Almost certainly me. Do
you want to hand out your personal cell? Anything? No. Okay, so there's two things I wanted to kind of hear some insight on.
Sure.
You talk about a lack of volunteers, and you laughed right away.
Yeah.
Because this is something that everyone is struggling with.
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing that trend continuing? What happened with you guys? I mean, I know COVID sucked in many ways, but I also feel like there's a lot of people who began to go, I want to get involved in my community.
Yeah. So what we've seen is we haven't personally seen much growth in volunteers coming in. But what we've definitely seen is our current volunteers really doubling down. Like they're dedicated more, I think, than they've ever been. So the guys that are in the club, they're showing up for everything. We just honored a fella, his name's Al Bradford, Ken Al. He's been in the club for 47 years.
Wow, okay.
3-time cancer survivor, heart attacks. You know, he shows up every meeting. Every meeting he's there. It's really incredible to see. And we honored him not long ago. And that's the kind of spirit that we're trying to embody. You know, you don't have to be a superhero. You really don't. You just have to show up, and you don't have to do a lot of time. You just have to do a little bit of work, and it's all cumulative. And we work together to make it happen. So, yeah, I think if you kind of pull back and more broadly speaking, over the past 30 or 40 years, you've really seen sort of social institutions just kind of plummet off the charts, whether that's a church or a union or a service club. You've seen things dwindling. Yeah. And the opportunity that's being lost isn't just for doing the stuff in the community, but to learn about the people who are in your town. Yeah. Like across, you know, we've got rich guys, we've got poor guys, we've got plumbers, we've got computer programmers. You know what I mean? There's really a whole swath of the population that joins these clubs. And you get a chance to talk to guys that maybe you would never have a chance to meet, which is incredible. You know, the stuff I've learned just sitting around a guy's table, talking to him about his job or about his life is very valuable to me. Right. And I think it's valuable. I think if people came out, they would see the value in it. But it's taking that first step, you know?
Well, and one of the things that I've heard over the last, 2 years, it's definitely been more now than before, but is that we have a very lonely culture.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when we were chatting about this, I'm like, yeah, when you moved back here, you took that step.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping one of the things we can inspire people to do is to take that step.
Yeah.
Because there are tons of opportunities, but at some point you have to find a way to find some common connection where you can connect with people.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily an easy thing. It's not going to come to your house necessarily, but I think that's part of what makes community awesome is that you work alongside each other.
Yeah.
And you begin to build these connections as you're doing things, and you find common ground. Not everybody's going to, necessarily fit into this church or that church. They're not going to fit into the Kinsmen. They may want to go Optimist or all these other ones.
Yep, totally.
But find somewhere where you can give back to your community together with people. I think it's one of the best ways to meet friends.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the coolest ways to make connections because I know for me, my kids are huge into sports right now. And so I'm living vicariously all sorts of dreams right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Says the kid who couldn't make Davenport's soccer team, right? So anyways, but you begin to meet all these people, and there's so many wonderful people in our community. And I think over the last 2 years, one of the things that really helped me out was the fact that it didn't matter what the media coverage was. I knew Aylmer.
Yeah.
And I know a ton of people in Aylmer, and I love this place, and I love the people.
It's an awesome town.
But you got to get out of your house. You got to be able to become a part of that. And it sounds to me like the Kinsmen, you guys do 2 of the events that really draw a ton of people.
Yes.
You do the parade. Yeah. You do the fireworks.
The fireworks is, thousands of people will turn out to that, right? And it's so gratifying. There's a lot of stuff in a year of Kinsmen that can be slower sometimes. Sometimes the meetings drag on a little long. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or sometimes you got to put in some elbow grease. Mm-hmm. But to actually see it happen when it comes together is just like, I'm standing in front of, at EECC and people are coming by and they're dropping in whatever they can afford into our buckets and they're smiling and they're saying thank you. And everybody's having an awesome time. There's music, there's food, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's such a great thing to see and be a part of. And it's not hard. Like that's what I really like to emphasize is there's really nothing to it. It's just showing up. That's all you have to do. And we'll find work for you. So,
all right. What are you thinking of for needs for the future for the town? Is there any dreams you guys specifically as Kinsmen have that you're kind of like, man, we'd really like to be able to accomplish some of these things?
Yeah, we've been discussing a few things about our park system. Right now, we're looking for a big project right now. Previously, when the EECC was going up, we donated $250,000 to that.
Wow.
Over a number of years. Yeah. And we are looking to see something of that scope. We think we do our best work when we have a bigger goal like that. So there's been a lot of discussions about, maybe resurfacing the ball diamond, or, maybe expanding the park system, or there's all sorts of stuff.
Or like an indoor athletic facility?
Something.
Something like that? Something like that? Got some ideas for you.
I'll have you out to a meeting then, and you can present them.
Absolutely. Is there a meal?
Yeah, there's a meal. Yeah, we'll give you dessert too.
Okay, no, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I like that because both town and township are struggling with a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that actually was Dave Mennel who last year did an interview with us, and we were chatting about this and the loss of volunteerism in these service clubs, and that people don't understand the direct connection between their ability to enjoy a community and these volunteer clubs.
If you go to downtown Aylmer and you walk through the park system, that's all service clubs, all of it. You can go anywhere in this province or country, and you're going to find a Kinsmen Park or an Optimist Park. You're going to see infrastructure that didn't exist before, and it, people use it every day, and they don't necessarily know that it was through, the hard work of volunteers. Right. So, if people just come out and they show up to, 10, 15 meetings a year, and you come out for those great days where we have a lot of fun, it's shocking how much you can actually get done with like a fairly minimum amount of effort working as a team. Right. We all pull a little bit, and we can pull a lot. So I feel like if people just give it a shot, like that's probably said it 1,000 times now, but just come out for a meeting, you know what I mean? And you will see how much fun it is.
Yeah, I've been counting. It was 17 times used. Yeah, and you know what? That's really, again, our hope coming out of COVID is that for 2 years we've been complaining about what we've been missing. Yeah. But I think now it's time to get our hands dirty.
Yeah, totally.
And let's make this world a better place.
Yep.
I think we have that opportunity. We have one of the things that I think is really cool about service clubs too is the fact that people find their niche.
Yep.
And then they go.
Yep.
And so the Optimists do certain things, you guys do certain things, and it's just neat to see the fact that you don't have to do everything.
Yep.
Just show up and do something.
Oh, I'm a Kinsman guy through and through, but those other clubs, like, they're incredible. You see the job that they do for raising, the toy drive, for instance, for the Optimist Club. Like, that building is packed full of Christmas gifts for kids. That's not our niche, that's their thing. Yeah. And they do a great job of it. So any service club, not just ours. We'd love to have anybody come out to the Kinsmen meetings.
But yours is a bit better is what you're trying to say.
Well, ours is
They're
definitely,
good,
we're better, for sure, we're better. We're the cool ones. But they all do amazing work, and like all the guys are so nice. Like, if we need something from the Optimist Club, anything, we know that we can ask them. And that goes the other way too. So. Well,
and I want to say on a personal note, you represent them well.
Oh, thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
I don't know a lot of the Kinsmen necessarily, or maybe I do and I just don't know they're Kinsmen.
Yes.
But watching you volunteer at Family Central and having heard enough about you as a person,
I appreciate that.
Incredibly positive things. And so thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for, last year the parade, that was such a big hit again for people, because they're looking for something. People were looking for, and so that has been awesome. I know the fireworks have been a huge thing. And so on behalf of the town, I represent like my family and 4 others. But anyways, we should say thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so and kind of in closing remarks, you got any closing remarks you want to do? And then I just want to remind people where to go.
So I think my big thing, as I told the club about when I was coming on, is I just really want to emphasize that it doesn't matter where you go, whether it's our club or anyplace else. Just get out there and volunteer. Go to the Family Central, serve lunch for one time a week, or volunteer at the food bank one time a week. You don't have to do a lot. If we could have one person show up 3 hours a week, imagine if everybody in town did that. That's all you need. Yep. So come on out. It's fun. We'll feed you.
All right, when's your next meeting?
It'll be this coming Thursday.
This coming Thursday?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
With that, so you got aylmerkinsmen.ca.
Yes, that's correct.
And emailing info@aylmerkinsmen.ca.
Yeah, you got it.
Look at me.
I'm proud of you.
You proud, Trevor? Oh, yeah. I did good. Oh, yeah. All right, with that, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to the next one. You guys are part of what makes this town awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So thanks for what you're doing.
Yep.
Looking forward to hearing about this next big project that
Oh, yeah.
that we're doing.
We'll have news. We'll make sure you know first.
All right, awesome. Hey, have a great one. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.